Hey guys, Shay here from Metra Electronics. On today's workshop, I'm going to take you through an installation of our brand new GM-PPKT-1 audio system for your 2019 to 2024 Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierra. Let's get into it. This is the GM-PPKT-1 audio kit for the 2019 and up Chevy Silverados. The following video will guide you through the installation process to replace the front dash, front door, and rear door speakers into the factory locations and add amplifiers and a subwoofer to your 2022 to 2024 Chevy Silverado. Before you begin, ensure that all the parts are present and tools are available. Here are the tools required: a drill, Phillips driver, flatbed driver, hook or pick tool, a panel tool, a 2 3/8-inch hole saw, a ratchet, a 7mm socket, a 10mm socket, a 13mm socket, and a T20 and a T50 Torx, and of course a wire crimper or cutter tool. Before you start the install, use a 10mm socket to disconnect the negative post from the vehicle battery. Dash speaker removal. Using a small flat-bladed tool to open the upper and lower handle covers to access and remove the two 10mm bolts. Pull at the top of the panel toward the inside of the vehicle to disengage the upper panel clip. Once the clip is released, pull back towards the front seat while slowly rocking back and forth. Using a plastic pry tool, release the panel clips along the front edge of the dashboard panel. If equipped, disconnect the electrical connector for the heads-up display. Remove two 7mm screws securing the dash speakers. We recommend using an angle driver. Disconnect the electrical connector. Repeat the process to remove the speaker from the other side of the dash. Dash speaker install. Grab the 82-3024s and secure the adapter plate to the scrap piece of wood. You'll need a 2 3/8-inch hole saw. The center drill bit of the hole saw will be located on the center mark of the adapter plate. Use light pressure when cutting. Install the 2.7-inch dash speaker into the adapter plate. The speaker pressure fits into the adapter plate. Using the 72-4573 speaker harness and the supplied butt connectors, crimp the harness wire to the speaker wires. Plug in the 72-4573 speaker harness into the OE speaker connector. Install the Vibe 2.7-inch speaker into the opening. Secure it with the two 7mm screws. Reassemble the vehicle dash in reverse order. Door panel removal. Using a small pick tool or flat blade screwdriver to remove the cover inside the door handle. Then remove two 7mm bolts behind the cover. Using the 7mm socket, remove the two bolts at the bottom of the door trim that secure the panel to the door. Using a pry tool, start at the front lower corner and pull the trim away from the sheet metal to disengage the panel clips. Continue to the front center and pull the trim to disengage the clips. Unhook the trim from the window's edge by pulling it upward using both hands. Remove the lock knob and rod, ensuring the lock rod remains in the locking rod clip to prevent damage to the latch if it pivots. Disconnect the door lock retainer cable from the front side door trim and the inside handle. Disconnect the electrical connector. And remove the door panel and place it on a clean, flat surface. Front door speaker installation. With the door panel removed and the speaker exposed, remove the 7mm screw at the top of the speaker bracket. With the screw removed, lightly pull on the speaker so it separates from the door panel, and then pull up to remove the speaker from the door. After, disconnect the speaker harness. Next, grab one of the 82-3004 and a 72-4572 with the Vibe 6x9 speaker. Before installing the speaker into the speaker adapter, attach the speaker harness adapter onto the speaker. Cut the terminals off the harness and strip back the wire to allow access to screw down to the terminals of the 6x9 speaker. Now install the speaker into the speaker adapter. Then attach the speaker harness to the factory harness located in the door. Next, install the speaker into the door and secure it with the 7mm screws you removed previously. Note, we have included two self-tapping screws to better secure the speaker adapter plate to the door. The speaker adapter has two holes already pre-drilled to allow for this installation. Reassemble the door in reverse order. Repeat the process to install the speaker on the other side of the vehicle. Rear side door trim removal procedure. Take out the rear side door pull cup liner. Unscrew the two 7mm bolts securing the rear side door armrest pull cup. Remove the 7mm bolt at the bottom of the door panel. Starting at the rear bottom corner, use a plastic pry tool to carefully pull the side trim away from the door and release the panel clips around the perimeter. Detach the door lock retainer clip from the door trim and inside the handle. Disconnect the electrical connector. Remove the rear side door panel and place it on a clean flat surface. Then remove the 7mm screw at the top of the speaker bracket. With the screw removed, lightly pull on the speaker so that it separates from the door panel, and then pull up to remove the speaker from the door. Disconnect the speaker harness. Now prep the 82-3006 speaker adapter plate by removing the tabs that won't be needed with a pair of pliers. Locate one of the 72-4572, the IBS BF65, and the Vibe 6.5-inch speaker. Connect the 72-4572 speaker harness to the speaker. Install the sound baffle into the door by removing the paper and place it inside the door panel directly behind the speaker. Install the Vibe 6.5-inch speaker into the opening, securing it with the screws provided. Reassemble the door in reverse order. Repeat the process to install the speaker on the other side of the vehicle. Amplifier wire routing. The amp kit comes with a short piece of 4-gauge wire that will connect to the vehicle's battery terminal. Because the vehicle ground wire was disconnected already, the short red power wire can be connected to the battery and then to the T-spec fuse holder. Insert the 100 amp mini A&L fuse into the holder ring using a T20 Torx, and connect the longer piece of the 4-gauge power wire to the fuse holder. Open the hood and remove the cover on the top of the battery. Using a 13mm socket, remove one of the available lugs off the positive side of the battery to allow the install of the ring terminal of the 4-gauge power wire. Secure the 4-gauge power wire and fuse holder using the provided cable ties. The 4-gauge wire will run down the back of the firewall to the vehicle frame rail. Be sure to avoid areas with high heat exposure. Now run the power wire along the frame and tie them along the main harness toward the back of the vehicle. There, you will come to a silver plug. This is where, in a later step, you will drill the hole for the grommet. Trim and panel removal. Use a plastic trim tool to pry upwards and release the panel clips gently. Then, remove the front seat adjuster track finish cover. Note, the kick panel and door sill are two pieces that are molded together to make one piece. You do not want to try and separate the joint closer to the kick panel. The one piece will come out after you have pulled the clips out. Remove the plastic trim panels and molding along the floor, unclipping each part and setting them aside. Continue removing the trim panels and molding along the floor and pillars. Gently pull upwards from both sides of the molding to release the panel clips. Then, remove the molding. Remove the cover to expose the front seat belt anchor bolt. Separate the upper and lower B-pillar panels. This will expose a grounding point used for the amplifier grounds in a later step. Rear seat removal. Remove the headrest from the back seat. In front of each headrest guide, depress the edge of the seat cushion to expose the headrest guide release. Using a flat tool, push the tab inward and pull the guide upward to remove it from the seat frame. Do this for all the headrest guides. Then, using a T50 Torx, unscrew the bolt holding the retractor in place and disconnect the electrical connector. Then, remove the four 10mm bolts securing the back seat frame. Using a hook tool, find the 3 latches securing the rear seat back by locating the indentations on the back edge. This will take some time. Be patient. Pull the latches upward and release them. Then, lift the seat back cushion out of the vehicle. Removal of the Bose amplifier and power inverter. Disconnect all electrical connectors. Remove the three 10mm nuts that secure the Bose amplifier to the back wall and remove the amp. The Bose amplifier will no longer be used in the vehicle. Remove the three 10mm nuts that secure the power inverter to the back wall. Unclip the wiring harness mounts. We will relocate the AC/DC converter later in the installation. Audio equipment installation process. This kit includes a pre-cut board and a set of determined mounting locations for the equipment. This board mounts all of the audio equipment, including the Bose interface. It is designed to use the existing studs and nuts on the truck's back wall. This board will also have a predetermined location for the inverter removed in the previous step. The installation of the product onto the board can be completed outside of the vehicle. Equipment positions are marked on the board. Using the supplied screws, mount the amplifiers in place. RCA should point up. Using the supplied screws, mount the distribution block. And then, using the provided hook and loop pad, secure the ETH1 DSP into place. The connector should be pointing up. Wiring the board. Connect the 16-pin connector into the ETH1 DSP and plug the RCAs into AMP1 and AMP2. When wiring up the speakers using the LD-VB-ETH-SPH, speaker wires are marked for which amp and channel they need to be connected to on the amplifier. You will also have the remote wire to connect in this harness. Note, to avoid potential damage, you must properly connect your speaker wires to the correct channels of the Vibe amplifier. Damage by improper connections will not be covered under warranty. Using the provided 8-gauge power wire, connect from the distribution block to the respective amplifiers. Use the T20 Torx for the distribution block screws. You will use a 5/32 Allen wrench to connect the speaker wires to the Vibe amplifiers. Amplifier settings. After wiring the amps, you can set the levels before installing the amp board into the vehicle, using a small flat blade screwdriver to make the adjustments. Mounting the completed amp board. Bring the amp board to the vehicle. Line up the OE studs and slide the board into place. Secure the board in place using the 6 OE 10mm bolts. Plug into the OE connectors. Using the supplied cable ties, secure all wires into bundles that will not interfere with the seat back mounting location. Wiring connections. Remove the jack from under the rear passenger seat. Remove the wing nut and turn the red knob on the jack to lower the piston and remove from the mount. There are two 10mm nuts that need to be removed to move the jack mount. Pull the carpet back to expose the metal cab floor. Locate the round silver plate found under the cab while running the power wire. Using a unibit, drill a hole to accommodate the 1-inch rubber grommet included in the kit. Cut the grommet to allow the 4-gauge power wire to pass through. Now feed the power wire from under the vehicle into the cab of the vehicle through the grommet toward the amp rack to connect to the distribution block. Remove the 4 7mm screws from the wire channel running along the rear door. This will provide a clear location to run the ground wires without interfering with any of the panels during reassembly. Run the ground wires from the amplifiers down the vehicle's passenger side and connect to the ground lug and the lower B-pillar using a 10mm ratchet. Using the included cable ties for wire management, prepare the area for reassembly. Make sure none of the new wiring will interfere with the installation of the back seat. Run the subwoofer wire under the driver's side of the rear seat. Place the enclosure under the seat and connect the speaker wires. Now reconnect the negative terminal back to the vehicle battery using a 10mm ratchet. Reassembly. After successfully testing your system, you begin to reassemble the back seat of the truck. Based on the model of your truck, you may have to modify the rear seat to allow reinstallation into the vehicle. The white weather stripping can be removed, trimmed to length, and reinstalled into the modified seat foam. If your truck has a rear seat without in-seat storage, you will have to cut the foam on the back of the seat to accommodate the amp board installation on the back wall. It's recommended to cut and test fit so you only remove what actually needs to be removed. You cannot mount the inverter to the amp board. You'll need to find a location behind the seat to store it. There is room on the driver's side, and the factory wiring harness is long enough to accommodate to move to that location. Once you've cut enough foam to allow the seat to clear the amp on the amp board, you can install the seat back into the vehicle. Reinstall the trim pieces back on the passenger side, the B-pillar, and the front passenger door. Reinstall the vehicle jack under the rear passenger seat. This kit includes a DSP tuned specifically for the vehicle and the equipment. No additional programming or setup is required. Simply plug in and wire up the equipment and your system will be ready to go. There it is, a whole new amplified audio system into OE locations. Hope you enjoyed it. For more information, visit our website at metraonline.com. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.